Thank you guys so much for coming. I really appreciate it. La familia Rojas, estoy muy honorado. Muchas gracias para estar aquí. So tonight is my senior concert for me to show to you guys what I've been working on for the last couple of years on piano, and I'd just like to say this is my concert, so it can be as good or as bad as I want it, and you all have to sit there. So you're welcome, or you're not welcome. The first piece I'm going to be playing for tonight is by Haydn, Joseph Haydn. My mom just crossed her neck off at me. Yes?
Esmar?
Oh, well, yes, okay. So I should probably talk about first my biggest accomplishment for the year. So this year, I just got done passing the Esmar, which is basically it's a college level audition /exam. It covered, I had to play 5 different pieces of repertoire from 5 different eras of music: classical, baroque, romantic, impressionistic, and contemporary. I did it for Dr. Jill Timmons, who's a professor at Linfield College. Yes. And it took about an hour to do that, and a lot of work beforehand. My mom was waking me up at 6 o'clock before school, and I was about ready to blow my brains out. It was a lot of work, to be honest. Thank you guys for coming on time. You guys are lucky you got the good parking and the good seats. Thank you guys so much for coming. Hello. So the first piece I'm going to be playing for you tonight is by Joseph Haydn. He is from the classical era, which is not the earliest era. You will find out later tonight, and a little bit more on that era in particular. So let's talk about Haydn real quick. Haydn was alive from 1732 to 1809. He was a good mentor and friend of Mozart and a teacher to Beethoven. At the age of 6, he joined a choir because he was apparently that amazing. And the head of the choir at the church was recommending an operation to keep him from having his voice changed. And his father stepped in and said no. So Haydn went through a little bit of adjustment period where he wasn't happy because he couldn't sing really anymore. And he ended up working for a long time as a court musician for a wealthy family. And he was Austrian and German. And he actually ended up leaving them and went freelance for a year, and in that year alone he made more than he did 20 years working for that wealthy family. So it just goes to show sometimes self-employed is better than being employed. Let's get this party started, shall we? And Trio by Joseph Haydn again from his suite in E-flat major. The next piece I'll be playing for you is by George Gershwin, who was the only, well, besides the solo we're playing on the guitar, the only American composer on the list tonight. In fact, he was probably one of our best composers ever. He was in the 20th century. He's considered a contemporary musician. And his biggest thing, which is absolutely amazing, he did a lot of jazz infusions. He's very popular for making jazz classical concertos. He wrote a couple jazz operas along with his brother. It's also interesting too, he was also Jewish and Russian from his family immigrants. My mom's giving me thumbs up because she's excited about the Russian part. As Russians are very prideful. Yes, let's start. The next piece will be a Prelude 2, also known as Balloon Lullaby by George Gershwin. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a moment to rant about a thing called the Bach Festival. The Bach Festival is a thing that piano players do where we compete with Baroque music, mostly by Bach or by Scarlatti. And back then, they didn't have this instrument. They had something similar to it, but different. And a big difference about it is that it couldn't do quite as strong dynamics, and it didn't have quite as big as a dynamic range. And at the Bach Festival, year after year, students are judged on their dynamic choices, when really they shouldn't be judging them at all, because Bach didn't really have that many dynamic choices for him to make himself. Now I got my chest. Thank you guys so much. I've been meaning to tell this to somebody, and I'm glad you guys all figured that one. We can talk about Bach for a moment. Bach was a Baroque composer. In fact, his death ended the Baroque era. And the piece I'm about to play, Prelude in D minor, was when something very similar to this instrument came around, where they didn't have such a hard time changing the key they were playing in. So Bach wrote a whole book of Prelude and Fugues. This one specifically is in D minor. To be played just progressing up the keys of the piano, since they had this new instrument to work with, and it was kind of his celebration of having this new tool to use. So without further ado, let's play some Bach. The next piece I'll be playing for you guys today is Meyle with the Flaxen Hair. It's French on your guys' sheets because that's the actual name of the piece, but the translation Meyle with the Flaxen Hair, written by Claude Debussy. Debussy is my personal favorite composer. I love him for his harmonies, and his melodies, and his rhythms. He loves to use triplets. I don't think there's any triplets in this piece. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so this piece was written, of course, about a beautiful woman in Debussy's life. I'm not sure her name. I don't know if he was even sure of her name. Sorry. You guys don't realize, your mouth gets really dry up here. It's like the humidity changes, and everything just comes out wrong. I apologize greatly. So without further ado, Meyle with the Flaxen Hair by Debussy. right, next, ladies and gentlemen, is a piece by another favorite composer of mine, Chopin. Chopin was a romantic composer, and he actually inspired Debussy quite a bit. Debussy loved to look up to Chopin and Tchaikovsky. But back to Chopin. So Chopin is from Poland, and he lived there for the early part of his life, and then he ended up moving to Paris. And he made so many good relationships in Paris. He ended up living there actually for the rest of his life because of the friendships that he gained. But however, Poland was still very proud of him, and they still claimed that, well, of course, he was still his. Actually, when they heard he was so sick, the country was very sad, even though, because they thought he died, even though he didn't. Cell phones back then had very horrible signals. He started poetry at the age of 6. He loved to be a poet. He loved to all forms of art, as many artists do. And let's see here. Oh yes, and of course, just to make me feel really bad, he played his first public concerto at the age of 8. He was also from a very musical family, and his mother was a piano teacher and taught him for the first part of his life as well. So without further ado, Chopin. Oh, also, the number is number 2. I meant to go back and fix that. I'll just accept the mistake. But like number 2, I wish I had a second brain because my first one clearly doesn't work as well as I'd like it to. But yes, it's a waltz. I hear a waltz. Thank you guys so much. Just to let you know, that piece is available for parties. It's about 10 grand each for about 3 nights. I gotta pay for college somehow. Anyways, we're back to NPC for this next piece. This piece is Le Plus que lent, which translates roughly to an even slower waltz, and was written kind of in a composer's funny jab at another famous piece at the time in France. It was just called a slow waltz, so he's like, well, I'll just write an even slower waltz. And the irony is it's not even supposed to be that slow. Yes, Le Plus que lent. Next, we're going to move on to the guitar. Just a thought popped in my head. I don't know how long this is taking for you guys, but for me, it's just flying by. I think we avoided the crisis. All right. Oh, I see what it is. Modern shred doesn't work well with acoustic guitar. That's the issue. Alright, well, thank you guys. So the next song I'll be playing for you is Blackbird by Paul McCartney. He's from Britain. He was part of the Beatles. You guys probably don't know him very well. Kind of not a real popular guy, you know, he's kind of on the down low on the music world. I actually went to his concert a couple years back, where I first really heard this song. I don't know how it eluded me for so long, it's fantastic. And he looked out to the audience and he asked, by a raise of hands, how many of you guys have learned how to play this song? And probably, probably a good quarter of the audience raises their hands. And he just looks out, takes a pause and goes, you're all playing it wrong. And just ends it at that. No context, no what the error is, like good luck, figure it out for yourself. So anyways, yeah, this is Blackbird. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these broken wings and learn to fly. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to rise. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Blackbird fly, blackbird fly, into the light of a dark black night. Blackbird singing in the dead of night. Take these sunken eyes and learn to see. All your life, you were only waiting for this moment to be free. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to play one more song that's actually not on the program, and I decided against it because I didn't want, it's kind of sad. I mean, it's kind of sad. The song's about a friend of mine from the Lions Follies who passed away this year during a show, and I wrote it in memory of her. And originally I didn't want to put it on this concert list because I felt it was kind of sad, but I feel like if you don't let the sad, then you never get the happy, right? So this next song's an original by me, no title, which is another thing that kept me from putting it on there, which is kind of a bad reason. I'll be honest with you guys. You're not going to tell anybody, right? No? All right. So here it is. Sorry I won't see you again tomorrow. Don't know when next our eyes will meet. Know that while you're gone, I'll be singing your favorite song. There are some things we can't forget, but I'll keep living for tomorrow. And I ain't forgot yesterday. Up that. I'm sorry I won't see you again tomorrow. I don't know when next our eyes will meet. Just know that when you're gone, I'll be singing your favorite song. You're one of the few I won't forget. All right, and the final piece for you guys tonight will be the Grieg Concerto in A minor by George Gershwin. George Gershwin was, not George Gershwin, I'm sorry, Grieg, Edward Grieg, what am I doing? I'm so sorry, oh boy, let's start that over. Ladies and gentlemen, the next piece we'll be playing for tonight is a concerto by Edvard Grieg. He was Norwegian, and the Norways love him like the British love Shakespeare. He composed this concerto when he was 25, and this is the only concerto he ever has completely written, which makes it even more special. And it's a big milestone for a lot of concert pianists. I've met tons who they've all said they've played this concerto at some point, and every single one, most of them spend about 3 years practicing this piece before performing it, and they practice like 10 hours a day. I could never do that. This piece has caused a very amount of problems for me. My parents have gotten very annoyed listening to all the mistakes, and that, you know, shit happens in the morning. This piece has also probably caused mild tendinitis. Just kidding, Kathy, I'm okay. Maybe a little bit of insanity, but you know, a little insanity never hurt anybody. It helps us be more creative. Y'all like fire, right? Please give me a big round of applause and welcoming Kathy Apland, my mom Tatiana Onar Smith, and Kathy's lovely daughter Kendra up to the stage to help me perform this piece for you guys tonight. please have a seat. I got some people I got to thank first. First of all, thank all of you guys for coming. Thank you. I really, really appreciate this. For you to come out and support me in this endeavor. I apologize for the mistakes and the mishaps and the parts that came up. This is my first one, so you guys are my test dummies. Thank you very much. You can count this as volunteer hours, I suppose. I'd like to give another big round of applause to Kathy Apple, my piano teacher.
I've been teaching, I've had the privilege of teaching Onar for the last 2 years. It has been wonderful. I've enjoyed it immensely. Onar was the first in this whole, from Hood River to the, I guess the first in Hood River in the Eastern Oregon to receive the Esmar Award.
Next, please help me welcome Diana Betterfide to the stage. This makes it even better. Here you go, Diana. I'd like to say thank you to her. She taught me for a long part of piano career, all the way up to my level 9 syllabus, and she's taught me a lot. I just want to say thank you very much. Oh boy. Lastly, could you please help me welcome my mother back to the stage? Thank you. Organization is key is the phrase, and I've obviously lost my keys. I had a card, but it's okay. I'd just like to say thank you to my parents and my mother especially. She's the one who's been making me stay on the piano and keep on it and practice every day like I need to, and is a big reason for all the things I've accomplished today. So thank you very much. Thank you all for coming. We've got food and water out in the reception area. Please join us all there, and thank you again so much for coming.